Hey guys, I finally now have the chance to sit down and get this next review in for you guys. It's episode 7 for Pretty Little Liars. And this episode had a lot of interesting little twists and turns and a lot of hints and clues. So let's get into it. So it starts off and Hannah, she's eating breakfast and then Wilden shows up. And apparently the blood that was found on Allison's anklet matches Hannah's blood type. And he showed up in order to tell her, look, we need a blood sample. And then they just start talking to each other and, technically he isn't supposed to speak to her without an adult being around, and her mom was out of town. So then he walks away and leaves. Okay, so apparently, according to Wilden, there were multiple witnesses, excuse me, my hair's a wreck today, who saw Hannah leaving the hospital room of Garrett's mom. And again, with people being around in security cameras, do these girls not think? Okay. Anyway, a new character comes into the picture. Her name is Cece. And apparently the girls at first thought it was Allison, because I will admit they both kind of sound similar. And they met at a coffee shop. It was Spencer, Emily, and Aria. And according to Cece, she and Allison, both of their families, they went to this place called Cape May. And apparently Allison told Cece a lot about the girls. She knew pretty much their names and just little things that makes you like, okay, so Allison was really probably most likely going around telling all the girls' business. Another thing to think about. Okay. Next on the list, Aria's mom has a date. Yes, she does. She's, gonna go out and hopefully have a good time. So there's actually another point I need to make about that later on in this video. I'm just following my notes very quickly. So Spencer starts to look up information on Cece. She's on her laptop and she's looking up all this stuff. And then who comes into the picture but Toby's sexy self? Anyway, I'm not gonna lie, guys. You know how a really, really cute guy comes on screen and you should be paying attention to what's going on in the show, but you're too busy looking at him? I'm guilty, okay? I'm very, very guilty of that. But the gist of their conversation was pretty much, why did she and Hannah lie to him from this previous episode that occurred? So they talked about that. Like I said, I kind of, my brain went somewhere else during that scene, so I apologize. I'm sure you all understand. Now, on to Nate. Apparently, Nate is trying to find a gift for Jenna because he didn't have one for her at her birthday party. And, Emily's kind of like, okay, well, why are you buying her a gift and all this? And apparently, they're going to go out on a date. And according to Nate, Jenna said that she and Emily are close friends. Okay. I don't know what Jenna's definition of a close friend is, but apparently it's a little bit off from what I think a close friend would be. Now, I believe there was a commercial break. Was there a commercial break at this point? No, there was not a commercial break. There was a commercial break after what I'm about to tell y'all. Okay, so I'm pretty sure we've all seen scary movies, and what is that? I'm going to have it in the description bar. I don't know how to pronounce it, you guys. I know how to spell it. It's Ouija. I'm not even going to attempt that. But it's that board game and everything where you have the little, and Aria pronounced it, planchette, something like that. It's the little, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the board game where it has the letters and like yes and no at the top, and it has a little game piece that you put your fingers on, you ask a question, and it just seems to move around the board giving you answers. Apparently, when Hannah and Aria go back to Hannah's house, they discover that game. And Hannah, she starts to get very concerned. And when she goes to pick up the piece that moves around, it had nails under it, and it pricked her finger. And then I actually wrote it down, and there was a note on the back, and I actually noticed on the game piece the letter A was circled, and I believe the color red. And the note on the back of the little moving game piece said, "See how easy it is for me to get your blood." So that was creepy in itself. I mean, the fact that A is able to, okay, the fact that A is able to get into someone's house doesn't really surprise me. I mean, there are lockpicks in this world, so, I mean, that really has never surprised me that much. And so then this is the commercial break. So when we come back, Arya is trying to figure out what all this means, and Hannah tells Arya about a night where she and Mona were using this game piece, or the game with the planchette. Apparently what happens, according to Hannah, she was like, you remember the earrings that you found that you placed in with Allie's casket? Arya was like, yeah, why? And she's like, wait, is this what you put in Allie's casket? And the story goes like this. Hannah, and Mona, hold up. That sounded like I said Arya, Hannah. No, Arya wasn't in the picture. Hannah and Mona, they were playing the game and asking questions. Like, do you know... Okay, Mona, she obviously know what she's doing. She was like, spirits from the grave or spirits from the dead, can you give us answers? I don't know. It was something like that. I was like, Mona, you were creepy from the jump. Anyway, she basically, asked all these questions, and the first two answers to her questions are yes. And then they're both like, oh my gosh, I didn't move it. Did you move it? I know you're doing that. Stop playing. So what happens is they're moving the little piece around, or something's moving it. And at first, Hannah thinks it's spelling Allison. It spells the word alive. And she looks up, and it's during a thunderstorm, obviously. The weird stuff happens during a thunderstorm, right? And she looks out the window, and she sees Allison. And then, of course, Allison disappears. So that happens, and then after she's done telling Arya the story, a vase with a plant in it outside her window fell over, and Hannah, she said, I'm sleeping somewhere else tonight. I was like, honey, I don't blame you. All this crazy stuff happening, honey. I know, right? Anyway, so going back to, let's go to Emily now. Emily and Cece, they are actually talking about Allie. And then Cece says things to Emily like, about Nate, saying, okay, well, why aren't you interested in him? He's so cute. I mean, either you're just not interested or you're... And Emily's like, yeah, I'm a lesbian. I like girls. What's your point? So I was like, good job, Cece. Anyways, so then you find out that Nate likes Emily. I kind of knew that in a way. It just clicked for some reason. So Nate likes Emily and calls her the hottest girl in Rosewood. And he's like, well, if the hottest girl in Rosewood was interested in guys or something, Oh, and then you find out, back to Arya's mom, who's going out on the date. You guys remember the pastor who Hannah's mom was interested in, and he's her date. And I was like, oh, okay. We're seeing a lot of him. We are, so I think he has something to do with... But then again, I'm not 100% sure. I feel like when characters start reappearing way too much, something about to happen. So we'll have to see. So next, Arya decides to visit Mona, and the nurse, I'll call her a nurse, she looks up Mona's information, and she's like, oh, she can receive visitors now. I'm sitting here like, don't y'all already monitor that? Does A have that much power that y'all are slipping on your jobs? Anyway, point is, so after that... All I have on here right now is Hannah talks to Spencer, but I don't remember what they talked about. Okay. Anyway, next on my list of notes. Emily explains to Nate about Jenna and Garrett. Because remember when Nate was in the hospital and Garrett, comes out of the elevator or something. He goes to attack Garrett. So apparently Nate was very surprised by that. He was like, oh, well, thank you for letting me know that Jenna and Garrett were a couple at one point. So then Hannah, this part confused me. Luckily, I'm very happy in this episode that they actually answered this question in this particular episode and didn't wait until like 3 episodes down the line. Apparently, Hannah, she goes to talk to Allison's dad and apologize to him about everything. And her dad gets so angry. He says, like, you were a child then and you're still a child now and something. And walks away very, very angered. And Hannah's just looking upset. Like, I just apologized to this man and he's still treating me this way. And I was confused. I was like, okay, so what exactly happened? And I'm going to get back into why he was so upset in just a quick second. So Mona, we're almost done here, people. I know my reviews are getting longer and longer, but it is what it is. So Mona tells Aria to tell Hannah she's sorry. And she says that after this. It's right at the end of visiting hours. And Mona, she can have visitors, but her visits need to be supervised by someone. So the nurse is still in the room. So Aria can't really get that chance to really talk to Mona until Mona tells the nurse, isn't it time for my medication? And the nurse is like, oh, yeah, you're right. So while she walks off, Mona's like to Aria, you got 25 seconds to tell me why you're here. And Aria's saying, someone's trying to hurt Hannah. Do you know anything? And Mona's just like, she doesn't know anything that's going on. She just doesn't want Hannah to get hurt. And then Aria says something like, look, guys, I'm just saying this off the top of my head. She's like, now, I don't like you, and I know you don't like me. The feeling's mutual. Something like that. And I was like, Aria, you go ahead, girl. Let her know, girl. Let her know you don't like her butt, but you are there for some answers for y'all's mutual friend. Yes, girl. And then what happens? Next, Cece. We're going back to this little girl right now. She calls Jenna pretending to be Nate's girlfriend and pretty much, in a way, just pretty much cusses her out. And I'm like, why are these girls really even getting involved with Cece? Like, if you guys watched the episode, did you guys get the vibe that Cece was nice, but there's something kind of off? Like, she gets into people's business way too quickly. I'm not fond of people like that, so I guess that might be that weird vibe I get from her character. I'm almost done here, guys. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Aria and Hannah, of course, Hannah's sneaking in little butt, sneak back into the institution where Mona's at. Again, security cameras. Again, people walking around working at night. I just sometimes want to... No, I'm not going to say that in this video. Anyway, Hannah goes in, tells Aria to keep watch. And I'm just like, okay, Hannah. All right. So, Hannah is talking to Mona. Aria comes in because there's a nurse coming. And Aria is all types of confused because Mona's sitting there telling Hannah, you know what's... Like, I don't even know how to explain it. It was just a very odd conversation. And then you find out why Allison's dad was so mad at Hannah. Remember what I just mentioned about how Hannah, when she saw Allison that night, she actually called Allison's mom to tell her that she saw Allison. And her dad got upset because Allison's dad got upset because apparently Hannah gave his wife false hope that their daughter was still alive. And I don't feel like that's a reason to get angry with somebody. I understand your child went missing and you want to put the blame on someone, but last time I checked, if you put up flyers that someone's missing and someone does happen to see them, aren't you supposed to say something? Apparently, Mona, this scene confused the crap out of me. Excuse my language. But Mona was like, she left while Hannah was telling Aria that story. And Hannah was like, do you have your keys to Aria? And then the next scene, I thought that was Mona driving. It wasn't. I believe it was Spencer. And then Jason gets to a car wreck. Spencer leaves her truck with the door open, vehicle on. I'm like, Spencer, I thought you were the smart one. Anyway, She drives Jason home, and then the police show up. She and Toby lied to the police about why her car was there, and Toby gets upset because now he's involved with all this, and he just lied to the police. Now, back to Mona. Mona goes to the children's ward, and if any of you guys have seen any of these shows or documentaries on like asylums and institutions and stuff, then you know what a children's ward looks like. It is quite a creepy little place. And there were dolls there, and Mona was like she was brushing the doll's hair, and she was saying something over and over and over again that made no sense. Apparently, it's a code. It's a code that she and Hannah came up with. You take the first letter of every word, and it comes up with a code. The first thing was, I believe, not safe, and the second one was a website. And when the girls went to the website, apparently the website has Maya's picture on it, and she's doing like this, and it says, "What's the word?" under the picture, and there's a password, but the girls don't know it. And that's how the show ended. Now, I'm trying to remember. Oh, of course, there's always a scene at the end with A. Okay, sorry, that seemed... the way I did that was funny. Anyways, A is in the children's ward, and it looked like A was strangling the doll's neck, but really A was trying to loosen the head. There was a recorder in the doll that was recording, I guess, Hannah, Aria, and Mona in the children's ward. So that's how the episode ended. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope I didn't sound too out of sorts with this stuff, because like I said, there was like that one word I can't pronounce. Sorry, it happens. And yeah, I think this was a very interesting episode. I hope you guys enjoy. I get a lot of positive feedback from all of you, especially how a lot of you just aren't able to watch the episodes, and it makes me feel like really happy that I'm able to help you guys out. So thank you so much for watching, and continue to go on this little journey with me through Pretty Little Liars. Take care, guys.